This episode of the HoneyDew is brought to you by UPSTART, COORS Pure, Stamps.com, and EXPRESSVPN. More on that later. Let's get into the do.
The HoneyDew with Ryan Sickler.
Welcome back to the HoneyDew, y'all. We're over here doing it in the Night Pants Studios. I am Ryan Sickler. Ryan Sickler on all social media, ryansickler.com. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. This community is continuing to grow, and I can't thank you enough for that, for real. It means a lot to me. The Patreon as well, the HoneyDew with y'all we're doing over there. That community continues to grow. And the stories, I can't get over the shit you guys are sending in. We have a bunch recorded. We have people sending shit in. That's someone solved an 18-year-old cold case. I found a human skull on a work site. Can't wait to talk to you. There's so much shit going on out there. So subscribe to the Patreon. It's $5 a month. If you sign up for your year, you get over a month free. And we put the HoneyDew up a day early, ad-free, at no additional cost. All right? You guys know I record here at the Santa Monica Music Center. I'm very proud to tell you that we just finished 2 episodes with Culver City High School kids, okay? So I created a curriculum with Lana for Culver City High School because I really think podcasting is replacing journalism. All right? That's my opinion. We interviewed the mayor of Culver City and the chief of police of Culver City with this class of kids, and it went great. So we're going to keep doing that. I love giving back. It's outreach through the arts. You guys will be seeing me promote a lot of that stuff. The HoneyDew podcast is where you go for anything HoneyDew related. All right. Now that you know all that, you guys know what we do over here. We highlight the lowlights. I always say these are the stories behind the storytellers. And today, first time here on the HoneyDew, so fucking excited. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nikki Glaser, y'all. Welcome to the HoneyDew, Nikki Glaser.
I'm so glad to be here.
I'm so stoked to have you.
I mean, I feel like we've been doing podcasting since I got here.
We had
because
a sesh.
I feel comfortable. Like, I was just listening to you just then. I was just like, I love this medium, and I don't know about replacing journalism. That's a big thing. Like, I think as a part of journalism, it's taking up space in the journalism is a thing that is.
Well, some journalism has become bullshit, and that's what I mean. The clickbait. I mean clickbait.
Wait, so it's
bullshit.
Replacing like television news,
Yeah,
like cable news
well
and newspapers that have too big of a slant. Like people are getting their information from podcasting now. I hope people don't look to me for political knowledge or your news or like what's going on in the Middle East.
That's why I don't fuck with any of that.
So my podcast does not replace is journalism in any way. It replaces maybe the Today Show segment where, you know,
the guy on the street segment.
Al Roker has a real moment.
Well, please, before we get into everything, plug everything and anything you want. Your shows, your tour, all of it.
All right. I'm on tour. It's coming up. It's looming. From July until like forever. Like I don't know, like until the winter, but I'm going on tour again. I'm so excited. I am excited about it. I'm nervous about it because I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself for it to be great, because when people are spending this much money to see you, I feel like guilty. I'm just
agree.
I have to give them something that's like undeniably good. So
You're their weekend.
Yeah,
that's what they did. What did you do this weekend? We went to see Nikki Glaser. How was it? It was either good or it wasn't good.
I'm accepting the weight of that, and I am not doing the imposter syndrome thing of like, they're wrong, you know, like they're right. Respect that they enjoy you. You are good. Give them the best show you can give. Have it be fun. Have it be memorable. I'm just gonna make it. I don't know. I get bored watching someone just talk on mic for an hour, even if they're like the person I love more than anything in the world. Like I don't know that I have the stamina right now. Like I want to see something else, so I'm going to give people other things. Like I want to incorporate like pictures, like a slideshow. This has been done before. This isn't like in stand up, but I want to just venture out and start having more fun.
I agree.
With the medium.
Yeah.
I want to replace journalism.
That's what I'm talking about. It's
I want to take on the road. Road journalism.
Road journalism. You have a new show right now.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I'm going on the road. I have a new podcast called the Nikki Glaser Podcast.
Yeah.
It's a daily podcast. It's kind of like, it's just me and my roommate, Andrew Collin, who's been on your show, who...
His episode will come out after yours.
Oh, really? It's not out yet? Oh, yeah, because I would have heard about it.
Though.
Oh, my God. He would have been posting all week. It would have been like, he would have had a nervous energy
gonna
in the
hold it for
kitchen
a
that
little bit
morning
for you.
where then I would have been like, what's going on today? Why are you biting your hand? Like we both, like he bites his hand when he gets nervous and I pick on this thing on my knee and we always catch each other like where we're like, stop picking. And sometimes I'm like, I want to pick this. There's a piece of skin and I want to get it. It has nothing to do with the fact that he didn't text me back. So he was doing that, but he does it about getting excited too. When he gets excited, I'm just like, what's going on? The podcast came out. How is it accepted? How are people liking it? I'm getting a lot of good feedback. I'll do the whole thing. I care. I'm happy for him. But yeah, I forgot where I was going with that whole thing. But
You were plugging your podcast.
oh yeah,
and
my
your new
podcast.
show.
I'm so bad at plugging.
I got you.
No. The Nikki Glaser podcast, I'm so proud of it. I do it daily, Monday through Thursday. You can jump in whenever you want. You don't have to like go back to old episodes to like understand it. We'll catch you up on inside jokes. It's every day. You can drop in and out whenever you want. It's like a morning show that you happen to catch sometimes on the way to work. And you're like, oh, I kind of know these people. And I genuinely feel like they're the people that listen to the podcast are like my friends. Like
They are. They love you.
It's almost a delusional on my part. I've never felt that way with fans before, even with stand-up fans. Like,
but that's because there's a
so
different
real.
connection. Yes.
It's like and I'm saying stuff that I'm like,
you're living your life
I don't
with
let
them.
my parents. I don't want my
Yes.
parents to listen to it. I don't want my closest friends to listen to it. I don't want my boyfriend to like if I ever get one. I don't want him like tuning in. I want to be able to process my feelings in a way that won't like. It might breach their privacy a little bit, but in a way that we've agreed upon. So entering into today with you and wanting to talk about stuff that like is really emotional to me, some of these things I'm about to share, like I've learned just the risky way of talking about them, and then they hear the podcast eventually, and then they are like, hey, I heard that, and then they're either cool or not. And I've been lucky that they have all been cool because I've been gambling. Not all of them. My mom did not appreciate my jokes about her. Never discouraged me from it, but didn't appreciate my jokes about her drinking when I first started. But I kind of was like, well, I'm mad about it, and so stop drinking and I'll stop doing them. You know, like that kind of thing. Like,
right, yeah.
So,
like, this is
but
my
now I
alcohol.
have a lot more compassion for someone who might rely on something to get through their life and doesn't want to give it up because it's too scary. I mean, I do that with work. I do that with.
My daughter will talk about how her dad smoked weed for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing. She'll have to be like, and then he was checked out. Like when she wants to create that narrative.
She'll be like, he was so dialed in. It was annoying.
I know. Well, that's funny. That's so funny. Dad, sometimes
I wish he was a drinker.
Yeah, because when you smoke weed, you get.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I want to do everything.
Me
like,
too.
We did this
We're
whole
lucky
studio
in that
and everything.
way.
I would smoke a joint. I'm like, let's go paint. Let's blah, blah, blah.
I
You
know.
I like that. I like
I-
what marijuana does for me.
I have to accept that that's the way it manifests in me as well. Like it's really suits my ADD. It gives me like a boost of energy. But some people that struggle with pot addiction, which I see all the time in the subreddit leaves, like I'm always just lurking about when I want to stop doing it because I've been able to like kick. What did I say the other night? And you were laughing so hard at the Comedy Store.
Oh.
Was that you?
No, we were at Supernova.
Someone who I always get mixed up with you had said to me. Literally, you guys all kind of look the same to me.
Yeah, that's okay.
Sometimes, like you, because I will have bursts of hanging out with you on podcasts, like in the mid 2009. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then since then, I'm not like keeping up with clips. Like the algorithm feeds you, so sometimes I get you confused with other people.
okay.
If you were black,
So
this would
does
be
everybody.
way more uncomfortable. Do you know what I mean? But that happens too to me all the time. It happens with everyone. Like I am bad with faces. To people I care about. Like I'm not claiming to have
Me
that
too.
Brad Pitt thing.
I'm all right
that
with
gets-
faces.
Gives me
I
an excuse to be an
recognize a
asshole.
face, but I don't remember your name, so it doesn't really help me.
Faces for me are the thing where I'm like, I don't.
So
your
you'll know a
face.
name, but you couldn't put the face to the name. You'll be like, oh, I know that name. I know that
I'd
name.
probably
I know
be,
that name.
but probably be better at remembering names than faces.
I'm
It's
just
really
not a
hard.
social butterfly anyway, so it's no ding on you. I just don't I'm not out
Yeah,
there like
but
that.
that's I did spend some time with you the other night, and I should have not confused you with the person I saw at the Comedy Store. I forget what I said, but I said I was talking about quitting pot or alcohol, and like also and a couple other things in my life. Like I've sober from these things that like lead to me being like not being able to work as efficiently. Really, it's all about like, if this affects my career, then it's gone. It can do everything else in my life, like
Destroy
no
my
service
personal
to
life.
any other facet of my life. and I will allow it to exist. But the second it starts fucking with my work, I gotta address it. So, that allows me to have certain addictions for a longer time that are harder to let go. But I'm addicted to caffeine. Caffeine would be the hardest one.
You think?
I'm also following that subreddit, Decaf. They talk about it. This is the thing, I've read
Can I
the
just
withdrawals.
say one thing?
And by the way, on Leaves, the subreddit for quitting smoking pot, people need to quit it, and it makes them lazy and they're addicted. Wouldn't that be awful?
That would be it. Look, if you're gonna smoke weed and just lay on your couch,
It's like angry drunks. You're like,
Yeah,
why?
no.
If you're a nice drunk, that's what I
then
always said about my
marijuana
mom.
doesn't work for you.
I always said about my mom, she's a nice drunk, so we were always like, you're kind of the best when you're this way. So it's like, we didn't want her to get her help for it, but we're like, do it more. Like, so when people are nice drunks, you sometimes can encourage them.
Can I just say something to you
Yeah.
that's positive?
Yeah.
Quit the subreddits. Don't worry about the
No,
weed.
I love
and
subreddits.
Don't worry about
They
the weed.
expose me to so many stories.
Yeah, no, you got to
Oh
stop
my God,
reading
there's
that
honeydews
shit.
all over
I
Reddit makes me, because people feel safe and they're like really smart, funny people in there telling their stories of their life, and just you learn a lot about humans on Reddit. I love it, and those
Reddit
are
is
support
real.
groups.
It's
that
more real than anything. But I'm saying, if
I
you
was
want to
able.
quit something,
No, well, that's the best place. I'm serious. People that want to quit, read on Decaf, just starts following it. I'm serious. These are helpful communities, because I find that before I'm ready to quit something, I just start like kind of like scoping out.
That's
like,
where you
what
go?
if no, not just Reddit, but just asking people about what it's like to not drink, and like, and like collecting information, just poking around, like not ready to do it yet. I got this book that helped me quit smoking. Alan Carr, Easy Way. Like,
You were a
stop smoking
cigarette smoker?
cigarettes. Yeah.
Oh, you were?
Oh, I loved it.
You did?
It's disgusting, and I loved it.
I still loved it when someone strikes a match and lights a cigarette.
Yeah, it's cool.
That initial smell, that first one before there's a pool
I think
of
it's
the toxins.
probably the.
It smells so good. And then after that, as soon as you pull it in and all the poison
I know. I'm
gets
getting
in,
a headache just thinking about it. Like, thankfully, they give me headaches now. The smell of smoke, and so that's so much pain that I would never that I associated with that I wouldn't struggle with it. But this book, when I still craved cigarettes and wasn't getting headaches from them when I was younger, it immediately helped me drop cigarettes. Immediately. And I was like, what the fuck was that? I just read a book and now I don't want to smoke cigarettes. At the end it goes, smoke it. You can read it. You can smoke the whole time you read it. He encourages you to. And all you do is get unbrainwashed by what you've been brainwashed to think about your addiction to cigarettes. Because what you think your addiction is, you've been lied to.
It's not that.
It's not as bad as you've been told.
Oh, is that right?
The tobacco companies, their propaganda, they've spread the message quitting smoking is hard because it makes you go, I got to keep doing it. It's hard. It makes it so you can fall back and keep doing it. So it seems counterintuitive that they would spread the message that cigarettes are extremely addictive, but it actually works to their advantage in the end because people won't quit. But it's actually a lot easier than one would think. Caffeine, not as easy. And then I also read the drinking book. So when I was flirting with quitting drinking, I got that guy's book for drinking and I just put it on my shelf because I was like, I'm circling the drain here on this. Literally, like in the shower, the worst. It was just the hangover. Being drunk was awesome. I never really did anything that reckless or
You weren't
humiliating.
violent or...
I mean, never violent.
angry.
Sometimes I would be angry. Sometimes my friends would tell me about blackout anger episodes, but very, very few. Very few, and especially towards the end when I was able to control that or thought I had some control, didn't at all. But I was having sex on it. It was the only way I could have sex.
Why?
And
Why what do you mean? To get the confidence to do it?
yeah, no, work up the nerves to do what I really wanted to do or to get out of my head. It was just like an instant liquid courage. But ultimately what I learned in reading this book is that it's not liquid courage. It's just making you dumber. That's all it does. It's like a retardant. Which isn't the right word, but you know what I'm saying? It just makes you
It is the right word,
more.
actually. Yeah.
I think retardant is something that puts out the flames.
Well, that's flame retardant. Fire retardant.
Yeah, so it's
I don't know. I think you can use it across the board.
I don't know if that word's making a comeback. The word that we're circling the drain on
again. Comeback?
I think so. People are starting to test the waters with that word again, and I am not. It's not like it's
Just throwing it out in casual conversation.
Oh, they're working it in back, just in back rooms amongst comedians who get it and aren't going to snitch, and aren't going to tweet,
or record and send it.
But I've heard the R word a couple times. It's not like the same reaction if someone drops the N word back there, it would be an issue.
Of course.
After we all chimed in. No, it would be, but I'm so mad you coughed at that moment because I needed your laugh to confirm. But there was a moment where like people are just, the emptiness after that.
And it hit me.
Dude, you left me hanging on that one. And people, no, it's, that word is making a comeback. I've heard it. And I'm like, okay, because that word, if it offends people, I don't, you know what? If it offends people and makes them feel bad, I can think of a different word. That's my answer, actually. It's not that important.
I have
of
an
a
old
word.
joke with it. I just don't do it anymore.
I definitely said it before on stage.
I recorded it. You know what I mean?
I burned it on. I did it on the Tonight Show back 3 months ago when you could say it on there. I did a rape joke on the Tonight Show, on my first Tonight Show. Jay Leno, I did a joke.
You were allowed to say the rape word and everything.
Dude, the word rape. I got this. This is wild. Talk about a fucking highlight of my life.
Okay.
I'm a blackout drunk, like not taking care of myself, binging at night, probably bulimic at this point. Like I went from anorexia. I started in anorexia and was like never gonna go the other way. Always gonna be good and skinny. Then I slingshotted the other way. Not too bad, but I was like puking and drinking and like eating, and I was just bloated, like so gross. It was January of 2009. I had been approved to do the Tonight Show in like late 2007.
Okay.
And so I went a whole year, maybe fall 2007. I went a year and more with being told I was going to do this right away when they were like, the set's approved. A set I had run by them like several times, fling it.
Hold on.
No, it's fine.
We can get a paper
Ash,
towel.
No, Ash, you stay there, Ash. No, we don't need a paper towel. Ash, you stay. It's fine.
Stay, bro.
I'm on a roll, and I can't be interrupted.
Get it.
So I got a set approved. Like went through like so many times with these guys. Bob and Ross from the Tonight Show, who originally saw me on Last Comic Standing when they were the judges when I was in Chicago. When I auditioned for Last Comic Standing my senior year of college, I drove with a bunch of comedians from Kansas City to Chicago to audition. Right. I stood out in line, waited in the cold, auditioned, didn't deserve to make it through, knew I didn't, was prepared to be the DAT fan if I got through. All I wanted was to not be made fun of and go on a trip with 10 comedians from Kansas City in a van. It was so fun. Get there. I got through the first round because they were like, Bob and Ross, the bookers for the Tonight Show who come to play later, I'm in Kansas City doing stand-up for, I don't know, this is my senior year of, I should just go back and tell my whole story. Anorexic in high school. Senior year.
I want to talk about. Why? What were you?
I caught anorexia because
you caught it?
Yeah.
Is that what you say?
Well, do you get? Well, I guess you could say get cancer and catch cancer, but like it's not something that it was my fault.
It's
and
not
I think a lot of mental illness.
I
have I'm already like starting to cry. I have a lot of like anger about people who think you're choosing not to eat because it's a thing that like people don't understand it. They think like you want to be skinny. It's vanity. There's nothing vain about it at all.
Okay, so this is not a body dysmorphia.
No, it definitely was that.
Okay.
It started as like. What it started as was my senior year. These are the events that led to it, and we can go back and investigate these more.
Yeah, will you tell me, because these are things that interest me. Like what, I know the Vogues and the videos and all the bullshit and Photoshop that peppers women with like you can look this beautiful, you should, which is all unrealistic, and we all know that, but we still go for it. You were telling me about these filters that I didn't even fucking know about for Instagram and stuff.
Yeah.
So where does it come from? Like where does that seed get planted for you?
Well, you are an intelligent woman who looks around you and sees that the women who get heard and get to do things and get to be the spotlight and get to be loved are the ones who are prettiest and most fuckable to men. You put that two and two together, you look at yourself, you realize first of all, I don't have it in me to fuck men. Like I don't want to put that out there because I'm so scared of male sexual energy I don't even know why. I mean,
but
we
what
can investigate
age is
that.
this that you're already going with
when I
anorexia?
Realized it?
Yeah, at what age were you already like, oh, got it?
I realized I was like not cute. I think, oh God, it came in such like different stages, but probably when my sister started getting attention for being cute.
Okay.
So that's when I first.
You have an older sister?
Younger. And so I started seeing like oh, that's what pretty girls get to hear all the time is like how beautiful they are, and literally multiple times. And I felt like unseen because it would just be, my parents wouldn't acknowledge it, but like women would stop my mom and tell my sister that she was like beautiful and then not say anything to me. And like it was constantly a topic because she was so beautiful. It was like notable. If you've ever been around people who are like models or, you know, actresses, like I was friends with Jennifer Lawrence for a little bit, and being around her, you just are like,
you just can't stop.
I'd just be like, you're so pretty. Like, do you know that? Like, not trying to, but I'm just like, dude, I can't like deal with how this could exist on a face. Like, my Dancing with the Stars partner was like that. He's the hottest guy I've literally ever seen in the flesh. And I understand having to stop and go, you're so hot. Like, I would be with him because people always were like, Nikki, surely you're exaggerating. Like, I told Andrew about him. I'm like, he's the hottest guy I've ever seen in person. Like, I'm not lying when I say that. And I'm touching him 5 hours a day.
I mean, yeah.
For a month, every day.
All over him.
And just sexy dances like this.
How hard is that?
Well, for a woman who suffers with opening herself up to male or female, like any sexual, like physical intimacy, like when I do open myself up to it, I'm the filthiest, like most depraved slut. Like I'm capable of such wild, profane acts. And I'm not saying that to be like sexual. Like, oh my God, no one stands a chance. Like I am so closed off. My dungeon, of which I'd like to be tied up in, is the walls are built so. It's hard for me to let people in that don't want to. Are like that can't come in, and that's what I go after.
Let's take a quick break and tell you about our first sponsor, UPSTART. If you have multiple credit cards, you know that tracking multiple balances, due dates, and website logins can be stressful. UPSTART makes things simple with one monthly payment in one place. UPSTART is the fast and easy way to get a personal loan to pay off your debt all online. So whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high interest debt, or funding personal expenses, over 500,000 people have used UPSTART to get a simple fixed monthly payment. And I know a lot of you have. That's why they keep coming back. You guys are using it. You've messaged me telling me how much better it's made your life. I wish I had something like this when I was younger. I know I paid thousands and thousands of dollars in interest I shouldn't have. UPSTART finds smarter rates with trusted partners because they assess more than just your credit score. With a 5-minute online rate check, you can see your rate upfront for loans from $1,000 to $50,000. You can get approved the same day, and you can receive funds as fast as one business day. So if debt is taking over your life, it's time to get a fresh start with UPSTART. Find out how UPSTART can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/honeydew. That's upstart.com/honeydew. Don't forget to use my URL to let them know I sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Go to upstart.com/honeydew. My favorite beer is back, COORS Pure. Do you ever feel the pressure to keep up a healthy life? Like you try to get a workout daily, you eat healthy all the time, you keep up with the wellness trends, and you feel like you're trying so hard all the time. And sometimes the simple act of using a standing desk or getting a quick run in is enough to celebrate. Those are the days you grab a COORS Pure, an organic beer that is all about celebrating the wins of everyday life. It's organic, but it's chill about it. Look, it's my favorite beer. I take it everywhere. I've had 3 crab feasts already this summer. I take COORS Pure to everyone on my go-to. Everybody already loves Coors Light. I'm like, if you love Coors Light, you're going to love COORS Pure. It's a refreshingly simple beer with organic barley, organic hops, and water. That's it. At 92 calories and 0 sugar, it's the perfect beer to celebrate the wins of everyday life. COORS Pure is the perfect beer to celebrate the wins of everyday life. So when you want to enjoy a beer without the guilt, reach for COORS Pure. It's organic, but chill about it. Go to COORSPure.com to see where you can find COORS Pure. I found mine here in California in Target, all right? Celebrate responsibly. COORS Brewing Company, Albany, Georgia.
So going back to, God, I mean, like, where do we start? So wanting to be beautiful?
Let me ask you a question
realizing that
now.
the game is rigged and it's rigged against girls who aren't cute.
I
and
hear
my
you on
sister's
that.
cute. She's getting opportunities.
And you're like, whoa.
And I'm like, what am I going to do? So I became obsessed with Jennifer Aniston in 6th grade. That was the first time I was like, okay, here's someone with my like same kind of. coloring. Like, I could see myself in her, and I'm like, I want to be that. She's cute. She's not overly sexy. She's not this, like, it's just like, she's just like, she's just like, she's like kind of fun and like, and I just like loved her vibe. I was like, I'm going to be her. So I got all the Friends books. I was in 6th grade. I realized she was 25 when she got the role. And I was like, okay, that's my course of life. I'm going to be on a show like this with a bunch of my other white people. And when I'm 25, which someone pointed out recently Bill Maher on his show last week pointed out that like Friends now would not exist. And that's like why that reunion was kind of like, what's going on? Like, where's any,
That reunion was frightening.
I couldn't watch it.
I couldn't either. There were some faces I couldn't look at. And I was
just seeing pictures of it. I was just like, I want everyone to look like happier. Maybe they are happy and their faces can't show it, but, and I don't blame anyone for getting work done. I've had work done. Are you really laughing? That's so nice. It's just
listen, because I agree.
Listen,
I agree.
When I get my Botox done,
I can't tell if you're upset or angry.
If we were talking right now, look at my forehead. Look how good I'm going to do a xylophone.
Normal.
I can wash my intimates on it in the sink at fucking Red Roof. Back when in the early road days, I would go before Bob and Tom. I'd want to smell. I'd forgotten underwear. Oh my God, that is so. One time, I literally only brought one pair of underwear, and I talk about being a whore. I was just like having filthy sex for the first time in my life with like the first boyfriend I got when I was 24. Right before the Tonight Show. While I did the Tonight Show. He was in my life. Didn't say anything after it aired. Didn't congratulate me.
Wait,
bad person.
Come on.
I know, just an addict. Honestly, just a sweet addict. But we used to have filthy sex. But one time I was leaving. I had to go somewhere and I needed to wear underwear. And I I just like they were pretty wet. And I know I hate talking about sex as much because people always comment, that's what she talks about. It's just like really, it's just funny, and I don't give a fuck. So just don't comment that. I just can't anymore. Oh, she talks about sex. I haven't had sex in 2 years.
No.
Yes.
Years?
Yes, 2 years. I don't lie. June 3rd, I think, 2019.
Why?
I would like to say COVID, but that only explains a year of it.
That's only a half of it. Yeah.
So things were because I decided that I don't have sex outside of I don't want to have sex until I love someone because I read the
So wait, I'm gonna stop you right
I've done
there.
Research on it.
Okay, you don't want to have sex till you love someone, but does that mean that what if you're dating a guy for 6 months, you really like this dude, but you're not in love yet? Do you fuck then?
I
or
wouldn't
do you
date
wait
someone for 6
love?
months. I know. I'm gonna know.
Know.
Listen, I'm a little bit Pete Davidson, Ariana Grande, love addict. Like I love falling in love. It happens fast. I believe that I can extend that honeymoon period to as much as possible because I've done the research about like how to keep like that alive because it's impossible to keep it the same as it is when you first start meeting and fucking. You can't. I'm never going to do that. But there are books that I've read and science behind those books that supports that you can keep your relationship really hot forever if you like just follow some simple things that actually already fit into my like kind of.
What book is that? That's the book I want. I don't give a fuck.
You're
Where's
not gonna
the
like this
subreddit
book.
on that?
You're gonna fucking hate this book.
Am I?
Yeah.
Because
the book is about. You're gonna no.
It's about manipulating us. And
No.
It's
not. It's not.
Then what is it?
It's the whole premise of the book is that everyone has to stop coming.
Oh yeah, no, pass on that. Is that is it?
Listen to me. This isn't about you don't get to be about to come. Which let's talk about it. When you are about to come, that's better than coming. Honestly, that's the anticipation. I know. It's the sweet release. But if you never release that, and you can in certain ways, like listen, I understand you need to like get it out. But I think what she says is that you try to limit your masturbation or like your release. But you do it
does
with other
include masturbation.
Yeah,
self-love.
but not like every day. The fact that we're doing this like every day, like that's what I look like when all the machinery I have is like, dude, I literally, my masturbation routine is so funny. I mean, I really am reluctant to talk about sex so much, even though it's my favorite subject, because I hate getting pinned as this. But it's so interesting, and I think it empowers more women to be. Like, I have a really satisfying sex life by myself. Like,
That's what I was about to say. Or is that why maybe you're not looking for someone because you're satisfied in the bedroom by yourself?
No, I was recently in a sexual, like, really hot thing for a brief amount of time, and that's where I got my release, was in that. And I gotta say, 2 weeks into it, like there was one time where we couldn't meet up, and I was like, I gotta go check on my girls. I was like excited to go visit my girls, like, and that's not me talking about my body parts, like my ladies in the dungeons. I gotta go refill their water bowls and check in on them because they've been in those dungeons. Like my porn stuff is really like kinky and gone down some really weird cellar corridors.
Stockades and shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, I literally want to produce my own porn because I'm specific about what I like. And
Produce
it's just
your own porn? You do?
I would like
for
to.
yourself, you mean?
Because my needs aren't being met. And I am subscribed to 3 different porn sites. And I search Pornhub and Spank Bang. And
I don't even know that one.
Spank Bang's good.
Spank Bang.
HitBDSM.com. That one's good, but there's the pop-ups fuck you. I pay for my porn. I feel better about it because the things I watch, these ladies can't be having that good of a time.
They should get paid for what they're doing.
Yeah, and guess what? When I'm not saying that they're being abused. Well, some of them are, but that's in the deal that they worked out
signed.
before.
Yeah.
No, they agree to it on camera with
really?
Holding a newspaper.
I'm not a victim.
And they've checked with them at the end to prove that they survived.
Send me a link of what you're fucking into
Are
over
you
there.
kidding me?
I want to check it out. Yeah.
Well,
They got a
literally
fucking-
go to kink.com and see what they have. I'm into almost everything they have. But my needs are, for me to make the perfect thing for myself, I feel like that's why I like OnlyFans. I'm like, oh, maybe I could just pay someone that I think is hot or like resembles me
And direct
to fuck this other porn star and like just tell them like, hey, can you recreate this? Can you play out this scenario? And they're like believable actors.
So
What
I
find
can
in porn-
come.
And will you mic the man? I don't want to hear the woman. I want to hear her, but like some girls come in a different way I do. I don't think they're faking it, but it's like just different than the way I would do it. So it's like I'm just like, I am too much of you.
So you should offer an audio
always want
option.
the guys.
Woman only, man only, or both.
Or yeah, full
Give them
thing.
audio options.
Yeah, but men need to be mic'd, and I know that they're not because men are like, oh, too many stand-up comedians being like, I don't want to hear the man's coming in my porn, and now all porn companies are like, we can't have the men making any noise. They shan't make a peep.
Shan't.
But I want guys being like, I want to hear good girl more on porn. I want girls to be tested and push their limits without you being mean to them.
Amen.
How about you nicely call us a dirty slut who's not good for anything except having her holes filled?
How
But
are you
can you not
fucking saying everything? I mean, this is my
Can
script.
you not just because literally you never get that. I'm not even like I'm not trying to be funny. Literally there's no porn where I feel like the guy that is like being the dominant one or tying girls up, there's always like a little bit of aggression, like an issue they're working out with, like their sister's Thanksgiving plan, like something's coming into it where you're like, there's like an anger here. Yeah, there's just something looming with a woman. That's a woman's messing with you.
Yeah.
She's asking like she doesn't want the kids to like be around you because you work in the porn industry or there's something like you. And so that day he just gives that girl Cheyenne from fucking Cheyenne lips or whatever.
Cheyenne lips. Two
Like-
P's.
Yeah, absolutely 2 P's. And then you look into Cheyenne lips. There's some girls, dude. This is all stuff that's going to end up in my special. So I'm not doing material. This is just stuff I like to talk about. But these are all things that I've like been thinking about recently when I'm approaching going back to stand up because I have to analyze. If I open my eyes to the bad stuff that happens to have the videos that I enjoy made to women that are like. It seems like maybe it's all legal, but it's like a little shady. And I understand being a woman that finds herself in a situation for work and you end up doing something extra that you don't want to do. Like
It sounds like you're describing entertainment and
like
comedy
you
also.
asking me to like make a story to promote this on top of it. I'll be like, I didn't think this was part of the deal, but I'll do it.
I'm not going to ask
And
you.
then, no, I'm just kidding. No, of course I'll do it. But I was just trying to make it like, but yeah, there's always like a thing that you do and you go, I don't want to fucking do this, but I'm going to do it because it's easier that when a guy grabs my ass when we're doing a meet and greet, it's easier for me to just let him do it and be done with the picture than it is for me to be like, get your hand off my fucking ass and making a whole scene for people walking. His wife is there. He'll deny it.
You've had that?
Well, I've run the scenario in my head where you accuse someone of doing something, they'll just deny it. They'll just, no, I wasn't. And then it's your word against theirs. Then I start going, maybe he didn't. Maybe and who would even want to grab my ass? I have such a flat ass. I'll start lying to myself. I've literally felt guilty sometimes when guys have gone, no, I didn't. I would never grab your ass. I'm like, I'll never accuse anyone of anything again because you might say that you didn't and you wouldn't. That's my biggest fear is you think I wanted you? I have this fear of boys and just of people thinking I'm ugly and unfuckable and a dork not because I want to fuck guys, but because I want to feel value from men for the thing that makes them weak and give me some of their power. That's essentially why I want to be hot, is not because I want men to want to stick their dicks in me. Yes, that is great. And I hope that the person I end up with is so sexually attracted to me. But that's not my desire, is to have men actually actively trying to fuck me. It's that's not,
but you
I don't
can't
like it.
Stop that though. Also,
I want them to want to fuck me so that they'll give me some of their money and their opportunities.
Sure.
And there's nothing, and I'm saying this subconsciously. I want to be perceived as hot. Not because it will make me get more money to protect my family and those I love. It leads, as opposed to being and the thing is, it doesn't take much to be hot. You know what hotness is in the long run? Being happy with yourself and being confident with yourself. So whether that confidence is you get that happy feeling when you're happy, you're hot. Doesn't matter what you look like. It truly it fucks with people's minds because you'll look like shit and they're just I remember Amy Schumer one time went into a radio station when she was looking like shit before she was famous. And she, it's one of my favorite stories. She's just looks as gross as she could ever look on the road in the morning when you're just half awake. She's doing this and she's not not even into it. She's not being she's always hilarious. So she's being funny, but she just looks like shit, right? And she says that she senses the co-host in the corner just kind of staring at her, kind of taking her in and just being kind of puzzled and just and she can just sense it. So when they go to break, she was like, hi, what's going on? And he just goes, are you hot? And it's all because she was funny, confident, and that's what's so great about that I Feel Pretty movie, is because when this girl who is the same girl suddenly bumps her head and thinks she's hot, just being happy with yourself and being this. But the thing is, what you do learn is that being hot does not bring you happiness. The hottest I've been, or when I thought I was I achieved it.
Yeah, when have you been
I'm
your
the
happiest?
hottest, when I thought I'm peaking. I'm not happy. I'm crying on the ground, having a spray tan drip off of me, and I feel too skinny. Because whenever you look, for me, skinny equals hot, because it's you look like a fucking supermodel, and I'm when you're really that, you just resemble what supermodels look like, so you think it's hot. But skinny for me gets.
For you, it is. Are you attracted to
me.
skinny? Right, but are you attracted to skinny?
For men?
Yeah. What are you attracted to in a
honestly,
man?
I learned recently. I fell in love recently with a person that I would have never picked for myself but it was instant, attraction. I couldn't, I wasn't it took a second to be oh, I would want to fuck this guy. And I would want to make out with this guy. I could see that, It takes me a really long time to get there with anyone I really like. If they're super duper hot, it doesn't take as long, but I felt something right away, and I ended up thinking this person was the hottest thing ever, and not in a way that I realized that because of someone that was so outside of my type, and I found him sexy because I just found his body sexy because I loved him. I understood that love of I would never care what you looked like, ever. I just your spirit, that. I was oh my God, because I haven't felt that kind of love before.
Or you loved for who they are.
Yeah, and I realized that I could look like anything, and that person would be okay with it.
Yeah.
I felt that back,
and
it was
also
the first time I
you
felt
could look
that.
the hottest you've ever fucking felt, and there's going to be other people out there that go,
No.
does nothing for me.
I know. It's not.
You can't.
Mainly when you're trying to look hot, it's you're trying to appeal to women. Men.
Fuck yeah.
Women.
You don't
women
have to do shit for us.
No,
Not
listen,
much.
Instagram hotness and all the tricks behind it and all the effort going into being hot. It takes so much effort being hot. I'm going on Bill Maher tomorrow, and I have stylists because it's such a stressful thing figuring out what to wear. And I like looking good and looking stylish. I have no confidence
Outside,
in
we were outside and that lady walked by and said, I love your dress.
Oh my God. And what did I think she said?
You need to de-stress. Yeah, what?
That's what I needed. I needed to hear
I
that.
said that was nice, and you're like, oh, you said.
I wouldn't have said anything back to her. I would have been like, fuck you. Like, I would have literally let her, and then you go, that was nice. And I go, oh my God, she said my dress. That's so nice. And I got this dress at like a really
is a nice
shitty
dress.
secondhand store because I'm trying not to contribute to like I don't like new clothes anymore. I like to like find stuff and like just make it work. But I'm not good at fashion, so I outsource it. And my stylist, what was it? Where was I going
You
with
were
this?
talking about what a pain in the ass it is to look hot.
My stylist, well, they make it fun. I do a fitting. Like yesterday I had a fitting that was like an hour and 15 minutes long, which is trying on clothes and looking at your naked body, being naked in front of someone else. I'm very comfortable with it at this point. These girls I've been working with forever, but they're like high-end fashion. Like they dress like models and pop stars and like do like Vogue shoots and stuff. Like they're legit. And I only know them because one of them worked on an MTV show, but she just went super like very, very style. But I like being around her, so I've had them dress me and I trust them. But sometimes it's like really fashion forward stuff, which I'm like, why not? Like, why do I have to feel guilty about, like, for instance, I went to the iHeartRadio Awards recently, a high of my life for sure. I got invited to do it. I was presenting Best New Artist, like the whole category. And I got asked because the guy that was directing it had like seen me at the MTV Awards and was like, that was good. I'm putting together this thing. Do you want to do it? And I knew him. He was Joel Gallen. He also produced.
Yeah, I've worked with Joel.
Yeah. Do you know that he was the director for the Prince Hall of Fame? Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I saw him post that, yeah.
He was there live for that. You've seen that, right?
Tom Petty,
I watched that
Prince.
thing
Yeah, it's
once
crazy.
a semester. I'm still going by school lingo because, I'm still going to school in my
fall
dreams.
semester, yeah.
I'm still in college in my dreams,
You wake
running
up with
late
that
for the
nightmare?
final.
Mm-hmm. That's finally stopped for me.
That's really good. That means
went for
that
like
you don't
20
have
years.
you're not coming up on deadlines that you dread and
Oh,
you're
is that
pushing
what
things
that
off.
is?
I think that's what it is for me because I'm like, you didn't
finally
study,
stopped.
you never went to class, you didn't prepare, you're not prepared, and now you have to face it. What are you going to do?
I would walk into English and I'm like, well, you're using protractors? Like, how much did I miss? All right, let me refocus this. I want to refocus
I know I'm all
this.
over the place.
No. Let's go back to, because we talked about relationships and all of your struggles with hotness, and you wanted to talk about your first boyfriend, which leads to an unfortunate event for a friend.
Oh my God, how did you track that? That was so good.
Thanks.
My panties were soaked. And I had to go do a set.
room, girl.
Wait, that's what the story. No, like that. Not now.
I know.
But actually, no, they're not. I'm good right now. I did get horny earlier. This is so funny. This happens to women. I got horny earlier in the day yesterday, and I guess I've just been so dehydrated because I'm usually in the Midwest, just gulping down waters all the time. I guess I don't ever drink water, but out here you feel it. I didn't go to pee from the time I was horny until like 8 hours later.
Jesus.
I mean, it was a long. That's not a good
work
sign.
day.
I know. I know. And I had no desire to. I finally go pee, and like it's like 11 o'clock, and I'm like finally back from my set, and I'm like, wow! I was like, oh my God, what the fuck? Who was I around tonight? I couldn't. I was like, who did I see tonight that turned me on? And it was no one. It was from 8 hours before. I was like, oh my God, I had this
8
white
hours.
Yeah. It was just like and sometimes you just forget and you're like, whoa, what did I do earlier that made me turn on? So my panties were soaked. I was blow drying them. I was probably hungover. My boyfriend was probably just like smoking in the hotel room, just being like gross and grumpy. And not grumpy, but just spectrum-y. I don't know. Like alcoholic spectrum-y. Brilliant. Very smart, genius levels.
I've never heard anybody call somebody spectrum-y.
Listen, there's parts of the spectrum that
There's a lot of
served
them.
me. I feel like I got some things.
Everybody, I feel like everybody, if you really dialed into every
My
person,
mom
like,
ate a
"You're
lot of
here."
sweet and low when I was
That's your
in
blame?
the Ute. She also smoked through the whole thing. But I was blow drying them to dry them so I could go perform and not have like soaked underwear.
Yeah.
But like a hot blow dryer to some funky, like wet, old underwear it stunk up it was like so, it smelled like pussy so much. Like it was like infused, like it was a bonfire, it was a
pussy bonfire.
It was a good pussy scent, but you don't want it that strong, that intense.
Yeah, even perfume smells
it was
nice.
like
You don't want a lot
you want
of
an
that.
eau de toilette. You don't want a perfume. And this was
Just pulsing
concentrated.
off my wrists. You know?
Concentrated hot pussy air.
You should be able to do that.
I remember like closing the door and being like, I'm so sorry, Jeff. And being like, oh my God, this is humiliating. Meanwhile, he like did not care. I mean, like, but sex is disgusting. Everything that goes with it. That's what I love about it. It's the first time I've ever
Go
told
back
that
to
story.
your first boyfriend ever. We were going to talk about
24.
him. That's how old you were when this is your first serious boyfriend. No
First
high school
boyfriend.
boyfriend. Okay. All right. So that was a little later than I thought. I thought maybe you dated in high school or something.
No, boys liked me, but I was scared of boys. And
So were you a virgin also at 24?
21, I lost my virginity.
But he wasn't a boyfriend.
No, he had a
Okay.
girlfriend. It's that's a fun pattern in my life, is going after men who are different kinds of unavailable, whether they're in a thing and that's not going that well, and like that whole bullshit. And like I'm on my way out. Like, let's start hooking up. Like it's a done deal. Like, I'm pretty much single, even though we live together and have
Live together. I've been there.
Listen, I love this whole idea that like women. I was always wanted to distance myself from the idea that I would be a woman who would hook up with a guy who had a girlfriend, or with a wife. Like I got fingered by a guy that had a wife one time, but only because I got confirmation that he did it a lot and that she was
Did
cool
he
with it. But
finger
I was also
people
very
a lot?
young, so I don't assume that they're divorced now. So it's not like my fingering
You got some
took them
hearsay
down.
that he fingered women
I
a
go,
lot.
oh,
So you're like,
but one of my
I'll
friends
line
was
my
like, no,
pussy
he
up.
hooks up on the road. Like he's a scoundrel. Like and I didn't do anything to his penis. I didn't even like acknowledge it. So I feel like accepting a fingering is not me like going like he's choosing to do this. I'm just laying it out there, and it takes away accountability. But I do have accountability, and I feel shame about being like she's gonna be hurt in this no matter what. But the thing is. So I've always wanted to distance myself from the stories of my past where it was dating a guy or hooking up with a guy who had a girlfriend. But the truth is, and the thing is, I went many years without doing that. And I was like, yes, I'm finally over it. Like, I don't do that anymore because that's just like a one-way road to hurting someone else. And it's just like, and I wasn't even attracted to people. Like, it wouldn't occur to me. But then I would try to then I just realized I was going after men that were unavailable in other ways. Like, yeah, sure, they were single, but they were like incapable of loving me, like literally would never say I love you and had made up their mind that that's not something they're ever going to tell someone in life. Like they had these things up that were like, he can't be everything. So it's shameful to say, but I have not been I have not stopped a romantic relationship girlfriends are just like, I'm sorry.
You're just a girlfriend.
When I'm a girlfriend, I'm gonna have when I'm a wife, I'm gonna have the same fucking rules. Listen, I don't have a problem with I'm kind of kinky and I'm into hearing about the person that I'm in love with in a safe, loving relationship. I think I am into like hot husbands. Like hot wife, like, oh, my wife like fucks guys, and it's kind of hot to me to watch guys want to fuck my wife. I like when a guy is fuckable. Like I like when my guy like girls want him and know that he's like in a relationship and they can't have him, even though they'll trick themselves into thinking they might be able to. But he's honest with them about him. I don't mind if my boyfriend or husband would get a blowjob. I don't want to hear about it until right before we're gonna fuck, and then I want to hear all about it. Or when I want to. Like we have an open communication.
But are you gonna be upset about it after you fuck?
No, because I don't believe if that person that they hook up with, first of all, I've never heard of a guy getting a random blowjob on the road. This is a circumstance when it's like you're in another city, you're on a bachelor party or whatever. If you meet a girl at a bar, she wants to suck your dick. Yeah, what? I've never heard of a guy getting a blowjob and from some random girl on the road that's like a drunken thing that like they're both like partying, and then the guy looks down and is like, I need to leave my family and the woman that loves me and my whole life. It's never going to happen.
You said, listen,
I've given those blowjobs and they
Supernova,
don't.
I commented on that because you said there's never been a bathroom stall blowjob where a guy's like, fuck.
But I'll put it in a hotel room. I'll put it anywhere. I will a road blowjob. If that girl you suddenly fall in love with, and you can't stop texting, you can't stop thinking about, go be with her. Like, good. It sucks. Like, I recently had my hopes set to be, like, I fell in love with someone who was not available, and I had hope that they were going to become available. Put a clear boundary being like, I'm done, but if you're ever available, let me know. I'm down. I'm invested. I love you. I would like to try to do this. Don't know if I'm going to like you when you are available.
Right.
Can't predict.
Who
but
knows?
I would
give it a try.
If I was a betting lady, I think I'm down. And
let's take a quick break and tell you about our next sponsor, Stamps.com. The summer is showing welcoming signs of a more normal life ahead. And finally, you can get back to enjoying life's little pleasures, like smiling at your neighbor, seeing a movie, and going to the post office. All right, some parts of normal life aren't so great, but with Stamps.com, you can skip trips to the post office and save on postage. Stamps.com brings the same U.S. Postal and UPS shipping services right to your computer. Shout out to UPS Baltimore Hub Primary 1 Joe Avenue. They make it easy for small businesses to mail and ship without needing to take a trip to the post office. You can print official U.S. postage and shipping labels 24/7 without having to leave your desk or buy any fancy equipment. All right? All you need is your computer and standard printer. Once your mail is ready, just schedule a pickup or drop it off. It's that simple. Stop wasting time going to the post office and go to Stamps.com instead. There's no risk. And with my promo code HoneyDew, you get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. There are no long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to Stamps.com. Click on the microphone at the top of the homepage and type in HoneyDew. That's Stamps.com, promo code HoneyDew. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again. Our next sponsor is EXPRESSVPN. Watching Netflix without using EXPRESSVPN is like paying for a gym membership, but only be able to use the treadmill. You know what I'm saying? Outside. All right. EXPRESSVPN lets you change your online location so you can control where you want Netflix to think you're located. They have almost 100 different server locations so you can gain access to thousands of new shows. This works with many other streaming services too, BBC, iPlayer, YouTube, and more. All right. You know I love EXPRESSVPN. I don't like traveling around this country, especially just letting people jump on my internet. So I use EXPRESSVPN. I was just traveling out of town this weekend. I was watching Pulp Fiction on Canadian Netflix. Yeah, you can get Canadian Netflix. You open the app, you select the location, you tap one button to connect and refresh the page to access the geo-restricted show you watched. Why choose EXPRESSVPN over other VPNs? Well, I'll tell you why. It has blazing fast speeds. You can stream in HD without zero buffering. All right, compatible with all your devices, phones, laptops, media consoles, smart TVs, and more. EXPRESSVPN has the added benefit of encrypting your data so you can browse the web securely. So be smart. Stop paying full price for streaming services and only getting access to a fraction of their content. Get your money's worth at expressvpn.com/honeydew. Don't forget to use my link at expressvpn.com. That's expressvpn.com/honeydew to get an extra 3 months of EXPRESSVPN for free.
And I thought, I had so much hope that it was going to go the way I think it's going to go, even though everything in my past has led me to believe that it doesn't ever. If things went the way I thought, they never go. I remember saying to myself, I would do podcasts about it to myself. Or like I would record podcasts to him because it was someone I cut off. Like, I don't want to speak to you until you're available. And so I just like to work through my feelings of like talking to this person and not being able to. And just like I would record things. And I remember saying one, because I would listen back because I'm trying to write songs about it.
Songs?
Like, yeah, I'm trying to write like, I want to like Taylor Swift a little bit to process my feelings about this relationship.
Wow, you're a multi. You want to do, direct your own porn. You want to produce your songs. You're crushing
songs are for
comedy.
me, like just to process my emotions because
Triple
comedy
threat.
is just like a kind of easy way around it for me. Like to laugh and be honest about these things. Like it's not getting in there and really like being like poetic about it. Like there's ways to be poetic in comedy, but it always is like, you know, like it's vulnerable, but it's not as vulnerable as being like, I loved you the first night I met you. Like that is so like when people do that, like
my panties are wet.
We accept people who go like, oh, her eyes on a clear blue Georgia night. We like, and that.
I wish I had a pair I could throw in your face right now. That's really good.
But it's so vulnerable. I think songwriters
are you going
so
husky like that with it too? Or?
No, you know, like and it's all I can do. I'm trying to be like I could go husky. That's all. It's really in my range. I'm working on my voice. I'm trying to write songs, and I just played Taylor Swift songs. I learned the guitar like 9 months ago. I started playing, and it's really like been the greatest thing I've ever brought into my life since comedy. Like obsessed, saving me, making me feel great about being single, having time to play it and like indulge in this new like artistic obsession.
Let's go play with my guitar and my pussy tonight. I'm good, guys.
Dude, that is it.
For the last.
Oh my God, that's all I've done. I'm literally, Ryan, it's so funny that that's literally the two things I vacillate between when I have downtime. I go, should you meditate? And I'm like, no, I'm going to bang out some like.
You should sing while you play with yourself.
Oh my God. 2 in 1. Oh my, I could just sit on a vibrator and play guitar and test myself.
Do the Georgia one again.
It was, I saw your eyes on a blue Georgia night. I don't know what it said.
Will you be devastated if your album did better than your fucking stand-up?
No,
you wouldn't at all.
That's all I've ever wanted. This brings us back to Jennifer Aniston. I realized I was not going to be Jennifer Aniston because I was not cute enough. And I was not a good actress. I didn't get the roles in plays. And I wasn't a good enough singer because I tried to sing. I was in a cappella. I wouldn't play guitar because my dad's a really good guitarist and he is brutal with his criticism of people that aren't as good as him as a whatever at the time 50-year-old man. So I was completely discouraged from playing guitar, even though I have a natural like inclination to pick it up. I'm like, my dad unintentionally made me feel pretty like my dad, all he wants is for us to play music with him, and my sister and I like refuse because he's just like
sing with him.
That too. Like, it's just like, my dad's such a good singer, such a good guitar player that like, he's just too critical. But also, this is a devastating moment in my life. And I'm only just now realizing it because I was in a cappella. I made it and I was like an alto. I was pretty good. I liked it. Didn't know how to read music. This is high school. And then I started taking singing lessons to like get better. And my mom told me one day after doing like 6 months of singing lessons that the teacher had called her privately and told her that Nikki doesn't have it. She never will. And that this is a waste of your money.
It's terrible.
I mean, I'm not joking you. I think my mom was pleased to bring me that information.
Like, this is a wrap, man.
Because she wanted to go to her garage sales on Sunday morning and not drive me out to Chesterfield.
And said that?
I hope she did. I hope so much that she did. But my parents early on, I used to sing for them sometimes, and they would go sing in the bathroom. It's better acoustics. And I would know what they were doing, and I'd go sing in that bathroom, and I would like be crying because I'm like, they just want me to leave the room. So I just got a lot of feedback that I sucked at rhythm.
If you could backdoor your fucking music career,
I'm gonna release.
Comedy,
if I do release stuff, it's gonna be
fuck you to that teacher.
I can't. Like the thing about Taylor Swift, like I'm never gonna be Taylor Swift. Like I don't have time.
You had a Taylor Swift shirt that night at Superdome.
I have lots of Taylor Swift shirts. I love her so much, and I realized
I'm a T-Swizzle fan.
Talent, like real talent, like being the best at something is obviously a mixture of like God-given talent, but that's such a small part of it. And Taylor Swift has that for music, obviously, and songwriting. It's just like something in this deeply empathetic, like very vulnerable art. Like she's just smart, but she's just like the right things were at play for her to be what she is. I'm so grateful all of that happened. But I do realize that you can work hard enough and do the same things that these people do if you just put in the hours. And like, so I'm starting right now with guitar. Like I'm half in, I'm about to get like bit full in where I like bring someone to train me on the road and like really commit some like long hours because I got to catch up to like, it's going to be embarrassing if it's shitty. Like I want to be good. I care about it like comedy, but I'm as bad as when I started comedy. I'm just older. But when I'm 50, in 13 years, I can be fucking great at songwriting.
Yeah.
When Taylor Swift was 13 years into songwriting, when she started when she was 13.
A start or
but I always pick up like
date.
Jennifer Aniston by 25, Taylor Swift. Like, I'm not talking about age anymore. It's like, I have enough life ahead of me where I could totally have a career as a pop artist or a songwriter at least. And
Has anyone outside of Eddie Murphy ever gone from comedy to music for real? Like stand up, not Weird Al always being in the comedy
I don't want to make
genre.
it comedy songs. I don't think so. I think maybe people have attempted to like rap. Childish Gambino.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. And
Great
his
call.
shit's so good.
His shit's
We allow him to be
great.
multifaceted.
That's right.
I'm just a little like, it's just too vulnerable. I can't wait to get to a place where I'm comfortable saying, on a clear door tonight.
I can't wait till I'm laying
You
in my
came
pickup
to
truck
my window.
in the
Everything
bed
is just
with
like
a sleeping bag,
Melissa
smoking a
Etheridge.
joint, listening to you do sound a lot like Melissa.
I did it there. Like the thing is, I could do good impressions of good singers, but I don't have my voice yet. That's the thing. It's like comedy.
You gotta find
where
your
I am with my
voice.
voice. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's
I just
interesting.
mimic whoever I hear on the radio, and I do a pretty good job of it. Like I can sing some songs really well, but I can't take what I did in that song to my own stuff yet. But I'll figure it out because
All
it
right.
takes 10 years.
Let's go back to our first boyfriend. Why
Jeff.
did you allow Jeff to be a boyfriend? What was it about this guy where you finally said, all right, I'm going to
He
have
was
a
the
relationship?
best joke writer on the scene.
Okay.
Very sexy, like just so funny that just too smart for the room. Brilliant jokes where you're like, holy fuck. Like I'm saying, like just there's something special about his brain, and I just loved his jokes, and they seemed like flawless. He still is a guy that when I do roasts and I send him what I want for roast jokes, like give him the themes that I'm going for, he's gotten in the most jokes of
Wow,
all
is that
the
right?
people that I
Fuck
ask.
yeah, okay.
I treat the roast like it's a writer's room because it's like the biggest performance you can have as a comedian. So I send all my like funniest friends. He doesn't even do comedy anymore, I don't think. Maybe he does stand up. I hope he does.
But he
He's
nails
just,
that shit.
Oh, they're so, but he just,
Yeah.
his mind is sick. And I was just like horny for it. And he was just like aloof. And I think I always get the word aloof wrong, but he was just kind of like, I had to like win him over to be like, yeah, but he's also like a dork kind of. He was like an outsider, but awkward. Just weird social skills. And then he really just like, he kind of just like grabbed me one night and like kissed me. And I needed that to happen. I needed to be like kind of I hate to say it, like I needed someone to like go in because I was so scared to put myself in those situations and make the first move. I've since changed the way I am with men. All of this is predicated by the fact that my first kiss, which was late already, I was 16.
Okay.
And I wanted to kiss boys so much. I was like obsessed with Dave Matthews. I would just I didn't know about orgasming. I didn't have my first orgasm until I was 22. And so I didn't know about that. I didn't masturbate until I was even beyond that. So I wasn't like, but I was horny like so much. Didn't know anything about it or what to do with it. But I just wouldn't let myself like be around boys because my mom kind of scared me. I think my mom gave me a talk early on, like they're like you'll get raped, or like I just sensed that maybe something happened to me when like I'm reading about people who have it's been uncovered that they've been molested, but they don't remember it. Like it was so young that they don't make a memory. My stuff kind of fits that, so maybe something, and it doesn't have to be like a full on baby raping. Like a gross doctor could have slipped a finger. And, like,
Is that right?
Dude, child
say-
molestation, you have to like really open yourself up to the horrifying truth of it because child abuse can happen within seconds. Like you turn your back and there can be an image created that winds up on the dark web that someone who is with your child naked in a bath, a relative that you trust, you go grab a towel, images are created, disgusting images are created within 10 seconds to a baby. And you would never know.
Baby.
I mean, this is sick shit.
It
and
is.
the weirdest part about this is a phenomenon. I heard this on Sam Harris's podcast. Child pornography, it's something like 5% of the general population consumes child pornography on a
Jesus
regular basis.
Christ.
That's a real statistic. And it's not because all of those people are pedophiles and are sexually attracted to children, all right? This is the interesting part. A lot of those people end up there because of porn extremes, which is I'm on a spectrum of porn extremes. Listen, I didn't get into porn thinking I was going to be into women tied up and like had bags put over their heads, like some weird shit that you see it and you go, why would I ever want that? And then you're watching it in 2 months. There's a fine line. So these people that seek out extreme stuff, beheading video, like the stuff that really tests the fucked up stuff you
Right.
see. it ends up in child porn. That's the most depraved. So these guys end up there not because they want to fuck kids, which pedophiles do, and that's why they end up there.
Right.
But a lot of those people now that make up 5% of the general population are just like, it's one end of the extreme. So that's why you got to be careful. And yeah, it's like the worst stuff. And I'm like, it's so funny because I don't have kids. But I've read about, and like, I'm not someone to be like, I was probably molested. It would make my life easier if I found out it was, because I would be like, okay, it's not me. You know, it's all of us. It was that guy. It was that gross doctor. I wouldn't even blame my parents. I'd be like, they did their best, but it was like, these guys are slick, dude. It's not your fault if you're molested. And like, I wouldn't.
It's not. No.
I wouldn't. But that's the thing is people go, Nikki, it's not your fault. You're anorexic. It doesn't make me feel like it's not my fault. Deep down,
like
I feel I did something. I know most people aren't. It's not their fault. But I chose this. And the truth is, it's just being unlucky if you get any of these, if these things happen to you. But yeah, like my first kiss was assault too. It was fucking terrible.
What do you mean?
Liked this guy so much. He was like a really close friend. He was so hot. He was in the grade above us. Not really popular, but like on the edge of popular. Definitely one of the hottest guys in school. Like just like bleach blonde, surfer dude, tall, funny. And he was my friend. And all of my not all my friends, my one friend Taylor, she really liked him too. And we were both always just like, oh, Andy. But I wasn't, she had hooked up with guys and maybe had sex. I don't think she had sex at this point, but she was like going after him harder than I was. I think they hooked up one night when we were camping. It doesn't matter. We became friends, and one night Andy and I were at his place after a football game. We were both on the pep squad and we'd been flirting all night. It's like, but I had never been kissed. So I had told a boy previously that I liked him and I thought I was going to get my first kiss that night. That was in 10th grade. I was in love with this guy who just was my closest like outlet to Dave Matthews because he could play guitar like Dave Matthews and he loved Dave Matthews as much as me. So it was like, I just loved Doug Reese. We called him 98 Doug Reese because that band was hot at the time.
That's fucking great.
So Doug Reese, I was obsessed. It was like my identity in high school. I was like, I love Dave Matthews. Everyone knew I loved him. He was my best friend.
That might be the best fucking nickname.
Dude, isn't that great?
That is fucking great.
My friends were funny. That's like
great.
I think that was probably Kirsten. Yeah.
Same thing with me. Growing up,
Taylor.
all my friends were funny.
They're so fun. They're
funny.
still so funny.
Always.
It's really, I always used to be so jealous of them because I thought they were going to end up on SNL and that's what I secretly wanted. And I was just like, God, they're just like braver than me to say things. And eventually I got to like harness all their like mannerisms and things that make me who I am now. But yeah, I was in love with Doug Reese. And one day I was like, I need to tell him. Like we'd been hanging out forever. And it was just like, I was pining. And I was like, I'm going to tell him. I go over to his house. He lives in my neighborhood. We're in his basement. Studying for chemistry. I'm not even focusing. And before this, Kirsten, my best friend since 4th grade, she had kissed some boys and like hooked up and probably had oral sex at this point, sophomore year. And we were hanging out at my house. I'm like, I'm going over to Doug's. I'm going to tell him. I have to tell him. Like, I can't take this anymore. He's not going to say anything. And I was like, and then we're going to kiss. Like, I know he's going to be into it and we're going to kiss. And I was like, but what if I'm bad? Like, what if I'm bad? Like, I don't know. And she was like, kiss me. I'll tell you if you're bad. And I was like, okay. We made out. I didn't even realize that was my first kiss.
I was going to say.
I literally didn't realize until like 20 years later. I'm not joking you. I was on a podcast and I was like, oh my God.
That's your first kiss.
That was my actual first kiss. I told Doug I liked him later that day. He had just gotten a girlfriend from a private school, so I got shut down. I convinced him to break up with her. I pined for him for months when he was with this girl, 6 months. I was like, I love Doug and he's with Catherine. And I would just throw myself around the hallways. Everyone like knew I loved him. And he even like knew, like it was just so, I loved him so much. And then one day his best friend told me in the Barnes and Noble parking lot, like we would go there at night and like hang out. It was like our central perk, you know? And we were in the parking lot and he was like, Doug broke up with Catherine. And I was like, really?
Oh,
I started like crying. I was like, Matt! I remember jumping around. And then we were walking back to the cafe to keep reading magazines we didn't buy and, buying chai lattes on our parents' credit cards. And as I'm walking back, I realized I do not like this guy anymore. Something just happened.
On the walk, it just clicked.
He was like, he's on his way up here. And I was like, no, I don't like him anymore. What the fuck?
There's exactly where your fucking unavailability is born. Probably.
Oh my God.
You liked him when he was unavailable.
Yeah, and that scared me.
And then as soon as he was, it scared me.
And then throughout my life, I have become attracted to men, and then something happens, and I become like repulsed. Like it flips so, and it's the worst feeling because sometimes you are in a sexual relationship with this person and you're going through the motions and you're having sex with someone you like are repulsed by and you don't know why, like something they did, it's like you just feel like icky. And I've had to stop in the middle of sex and be like, this is so harsh to say.
Tell me this is something you've actually said.
Well, I did this to a guy one time. I was a little too high to be having sex, and I already was like not really. I was looking at him as more of a friend, and it just felt like fucking a friend. It just felt icky. Like it just felt, no, I don't. He loves me too much. It was like, ugh. And I was like, I have to stop. You have to get out of me. Like you got to get out of me. And he was like, wait, what? And like that's how I said it.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was like, you need to get out of me. You gotta get.
I'll tell you.
Grab your go bag.
Man,
and get out of me. Flee quickly.
Get your balls out.
Because this is beginning.
Get your shit out of here.
What I meant by that.
I can't even believe that.
I mean, that's the softer thing of what I really want to say, which like if I let this continue, and I have already for like 30 seconds after I didn't want it, at this point I'm raping myself with you. I'm using you to rape myself. Like it was me betraying myself. And I couldn't do it. So I don't let myself do that anymore.
Listen. Please, if you don't, that has to go into your stand-up. Raping myself with
it's
you?
a little harsh, but yes, it's true.
That's 2 rape jokes you could get away with.
Oh, man. Yeah, the first one on The Tonight Show, by the way, was I'm 21, whatever. In college, I like dated a lot of frat guys. My friends were like, don't date them. They're douchebags. And I was like, they're not that bad. The guy I actually dated, he was like so sweet because he waited till like the third date before he leaned in to rape me. And so that's
and you
on
got
The Tonight
that
Show.
on The Tonight Show.
But it's all true. Like the guy that I ended up kissing, like he was my friend after the football game. We're at his place. Mitch Hedberg was on Letterman that night. It was the first time I saw Mitch Hedberg. And we were watching it. We were like, oh my God, so funny. We're hanging out in his parents' living room, which we had done a lot at that point. And at one point, he just goes, I like you. And I was like, what? Like it was caught me by surprise. Like I didn't see this coming. I was like, really? I was like, okay, well, I like you too. And he was just like, okay, all right, well, and it was kind of like awkward. And he's like, so I can like ask you out sometime? And I was like, yeah, yes. Like I was like, oh my God. And then he leapt from the couch, from his like the Barco lounger to the couch I was on and like just made out with me like fast. That was my first kiss from a guy. And it was just like, I was like, no, like, what are you doing? Like, no. And like pushed him off. And he was so embarrassed that had been my response that he like ran into the kitchen, was like, fuck, and like was like slamming cabinets. He was making a lot of commotion in the kitchen, being like, I'm such a fucking idiot. And I was like, Andy, calm down. It's not that big of a deal. Like, I was just like, sorry. I was like, got scared. I was like trying to like make it better. And that wasn't the bad part, was him telling him to get off. Like, he got off me. That was fine. That happens. Like, it was a little too aggressive, but he's a young guy. The reaction afterwards, though, he apparently was chugging like whatever he could find, liquor he could find. And then eventually I was like, will you drive me home? Like, I don't know what you're doing, but this is weird. I need to go home. And he drove me home. He was going like 75, like in a 30, like just being so dangerous, like in a dangerous car, just like, and I didn't know he was drunk, but just being like really like so scary on the way home. And then when I got out at my house, he took off before my other foot was like out the door, and I like almost fell down.
Shit.
And the door like closed on my, like hit my leg, and I just go, fuck you. And I'd never have that like ever. And I screamed that in the night. Like that's how, I was not like that type of girl. And I was just like, the next day I had to be on a float with him all day at this green tree festival. And it was like, he wouldn't talk to me. So it just, I am always scared of being a tease and having a guy be like, fucking you do, like I've had an ex-boyfriend go, you do this to guys, Nikki. You get them to love you, and then then you change your mind. It's like, I didn't choose to not be attracted to you anymore. I quit drinking and I saw you clearly for who you are, and I still fuck you when I'm sober because I already have fucked you, and it's not as scary to me because new dick is scary and yours I've already seen. That's why I want to sleep with you again. Not because I want to cause you pain. I only want to cause pain to men who have like hurt me. And actually, I don't even want to do that anymore. I really don't have this like vendetta like I used to. Like I just got like my heart kind of crushed, and I have.
You said literally this morning.
Yeah, like I got word that a thing I had hope for is like a lot of hope for is dead in the water, and I was like, I literally got the text and I go, thank you. Like, what a gift to keep this person out of my life, to retard this flame right now is going to make me so open to so many other things because I was holding out hope for that. So I'm glad it went away. But generally when I get rejected and I haven't been communicated with well and not really respected, like this situation, I tend to get like vindictive, and I just don't want to do that this time because I try to see now like how in pain people are and how their choices are truly not about me. Like I can get there and be like, this isn't because I'm not lovable or I wasn't good enough to have this person make changes in their life that would accommodate my, like it's not, I don't need to make it that, and I haven't. And the biggest part of not making it that, the key to getting over a guy who you're in love with, who you are like have told you want to spend your life with, or at least give it a chance. I was like, let's get married for 2 years. I'll be out before I'm 40. I'll be like still hot. I will have done it. I'll know what not to do. 2 years. I will not feel like that's that's a success. I don't think marriage has to last forever. Like, yes, we hope it does, but it doesn't mean it's a failure if it fails.
I
2 years though is
I agree with that. These people are like, we've been married 15 years. I'm like, that's a long time. That's a successful
so
marriage.
Long. That means I was successful for 6 of those years. But like, let's wrap this up. I know there's kids and money and situations and emotional abuse. I get it. I'm lucky that I have not entered into a marriage with someone at this point with what I know. And I'm grateful, but I would do it and I would protect myself in it going into it. But I'm so down to like fall madly in love and have it just like burn out. That's what this felt so good because here's the key. I never had sex with this person.
Oh, okay.
I fell in love, no sex. I did not give myself fully to him because he wasn't mine at like when I was still, he wasn't able to be fully invested in me. Mm-hmm. So he didn't get to have sex with me. Very, very hard to do, to not have sex with someone that you are dying to have sex with. And, but that, based on the research I've gone through, like, biologically you get like addicted to someone when their dick is in you. And you shouldn't let it in anyway, but listen, there's only so many ways to get a guy off. And if you're taking penis and vagina off the table, you got to put it in other ways if you're hooking up. So I was hurt when it fell through, but because I didn't have that chemical attachment that happens when you like have a penis in you, and the thing that I'm saving for love, when that goes away, it's devastating. But I didn't get that, so I'm like the withdrawal. It was like quitting smoking. It was like the effects of like I long for his smell wore off after like 7 days. I stole a pillowcase from his hotel room and I smelled it to re-up the love. I'd be like remember that you love this person because hold on, they might come through. And then I was starting to smell kind of like, I don't really like this. And then some days I would be like ovulating. So it was like, but I'm going to throw it out when I get home. I'm over it. Will I? We don't know. Stay tuned for my next appearance on the HoneyDew. I had to look at the sign to make sure it was the HoneyDew.
It is. You got it. We never got to the story you wanted to talk about with your friend.
No, we got to so much good stuff. I'll come back for that.
I'm saying come back for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask you what I ask everybody their first time. After everything we've talked about, what you know, and especially that age, the pivotal age is 16. What advice would you give to your 16-year-old self?
God. Now, I like honestly, my initial one before we started, because you told me this, was there's going to be a girl named Taylor Swift someday that just wait for her. And like as soon as she comes out, like seek out female songwriters who there's someone out there that's speaking your pain and your truth. Like look for them, look beyond the Beatles and Dave Matthews, and like go deep with music can help you through this right now in a way that you don't even know because Taylor Swift isn't born yet. But like
there's some others that'll do in the meantime.
Yeah, and Nikki, you're meant to be a songwriter. You really are. And you need to do everything you can to do it. And if that means becoming a famous comedian that can pay for people to pay attention to you and like be nice to you when you suck at guitar, like if that's the environment you have to make for yourself to like pursue a pop star career or whatever you want, like a songwriting career, do it, because that's really the dream. Like I love being able to communicate via podcast. Like I would never give this up. I might give it up to actually be a singer-songwriter.
Oh yeah, you'd have to trade.
You can just help so many people with your like music. Just heals in a way that comedy sometimes does. It just doesn't.
No way, it does.
Comedy is so challenging. You have to like write all the time. And it's so great because you can process stuff in real time, but real time with Bill Maher this Friday. Oh, wait, no.
I was over here feeling that sea or in the Georgia blue sky. I was feeling it.
Listen, I got some things to say inside me, and I've got poetry in my soul, and I might release stuff under a pseudonym, but I would tell also Nikki to look into meditation. To 16-year-old Nikki, like investigate meditation and consciousness, and Sam Harris, because when you discover that, and your dad's not right about everything. I know you think he is, but he's not. He's got some things wrong, and that's not because he's not an intelligent, awesome person, but your parents are wrong on a lot of stuff. And that doesn't make them bad people.
That's right.
Which it'll take longer to learn that too.
Thank you for coming on here, and thank you for being fucking
fun.
awesome.
I wish I could hang out with you all day. You're the best.
You are too. Please plug everything you'd like to plug too. Your
Nikki
show,
Glaser
all
podcast.
that.
Please just subscribe, you guys. I'm not. It's pretty much like this. If you enjoyed this, you'll like it. The Nikki Glaser podcast with Andrew Collin, who you will hear on this podcast as well so soon. He's so funny. He's my roommate and my podcast co-host. We film it, or we do the podcast from spare bedroom in our apartment in St. Louis. And then Fuckboy Island, F-Boy Island, on HBO. Tune into that. If you like reality TV and you enjoy dating shows, this one's wild. It's a show with, I forget what I can say about it contractually. I think it's like a lot of men that are either a fuckboy or an F-boy, or a nice guy. And then these girls that are looking for love have to figure out who is who. And listen, I learned a lot on this show.
Did you?
Yeah, I learned a lot about myself, and I learned a lot about men, and I learned a lot about reality TV, and it's awesome. That was the best thing I ever did, was that show. The most fun I've ever had. Watch me have the best time of my life. If you want to watch someone having a good time while they're making TV, which is rare to find on TV, by the way, it's people are mostly just sometimes phoning it in, but they're good at it. I was actually having a genuine, amazing time on that show.
All right, I'm going to watch it.
It's so fun and weird. Yeah. F-Boy Island.
Thank you.
And my tour. See you out there.
Yeah, and go see Nikki live. As always, Ryan Sickler on all social media, ryansickler.com. We'll talk to you all next week.